Hello, greetings. Yes, so I'm back with this analysis of a Shia pattern of thinking, what they would counter, argue, give me reason on this about Surah Fath, Ayat 15 and 20. Yes, so continuing, Surah, they also, the Bedouins, we are told in Surah Fath, Ayat 15, that they said that you people, you Muslims, you Mu'mineen with the Rasulullah, are going forth for the booty, spoils of war. So when you go forth, take us along. So this blame they put on the Muslims of that time. And that was that's why they changed the word of Allah, because they put the blame on the Muslims, Mu'mineens of that time, that they were going to the holy, they were going for the to the holy war for booties, spoils of war. Yes, so the Shia pattern of thinking, thought would be that yes, these and analyzing this verse, that the Bedouins were blaming these poor Muslims who would now win or something and get booty. They were actually going for the booty rather than a holy war, which is for saving lives and truth. No, spreading the true religion of Rasulullah. No, of Allah. So, okay, so spreading the true religion, and elsewhere you can look at the ayats in Surah Nisa, is it? That all the children, men, women crying out, "O Allah, send us from among you a helper," because they were oppressed and they wanted. So why would you not go to the war against the Zalimun, the Zalimeen, or Zalimun, the people who are oppressing them, the oppressors, right? Why wouldn't you go for it? Let's see if anyone went forth to help for this or for establishing the true religion of Allah. We'll see afterwards about this verse in Surah Nisa, what is jihad really, and in history, did they go forth for saving lives only, for humanity, or for upholding this religion? It's very, very subtle. You'll have to seep through, as I said, right? And we'll have to look through history, the hadiths, Sunni, Shia, who went to save whose life, for what reason, when they went for the holy war. To save one true person, or to first establish imamat, khilafat, the true khilafat that comes from Prophet Muhammad and his al. First prophethood, saving prophethood, the Prophet himself saving the message of Allah, thus means, right? And then thereafter saving imamat. Abraham was the first. Abraham was a ummat, a nation. You've got to save this nation, this nation. So then when you are saying that here in Surah Nisa, so in Surah Nisa, actually if you look at there are other reasoning too, but these poor women, children, and men shouting, oppressed by someone. So Hazrat Musa was sent against Pharaoh, you would say. You would give that ayat to save these people, because these tyrants were now oppressing them. And first to go and, speak kindly, right? I know my Shias, they will bring this out. So once we are told in the Quran, like we analyze, that the end by the Shias, that the true authority, and even by the Sunnis, in other words, the right caliphs, once this authority of God is established on earth, you will be saving children, women, and men, humanity from oppression. So that's why God has to send himself someone down to help us, who will give priority to the well-being of humanity rather than, accusations and, putting favoritism and all this zulm, which is cruel, unkind, unjust, injustices in this world. It carries all this injustice in this world. No woman will be raped. No, there will be no fornication. There will be no adultery. And if there is, there's a befitting punishment. So everything will be so peaceful. But authority, I will speak on that later on, like what authority should be. Not scaring you about idol worshipping. So much so that, this is like we hate the idolaters so much. Unclean, this, that. Maybe there was a gentle way was done by Hazrat Musa, we're told, in Surah Taha. Surah Qasas also, Musa is mentioned many times in the Quran. I don't know how many times in what surahs, but I know in Qasas, Surah Qasas and Surah Taha. So yes, gently go and tell them and all this in the beginning. Then the wrath of Allah will follow. Like then first warn them gently, then like that, and to establish the authority of God, which is justice, which is based on justice, truth, and no human being should suffer ever. Right? So, yes, and this authority, then we are told like how it is free from Satan's whisperings and temptations of the world, and satanic temptations, and even Satan it is protected from. So no Satan at all. Yes, so I understand. No Satan at all once the true authority of God is established. Like Rasulullah in Makkah and Medina, if they had allowed him, and Imam Ali thereafter, and his Muslim Mu'mineen to establish this peaceful thing, he would have done that. Prosperity for all, like what is La ilaha illallah, and in this justice. This justice, if you believe in one God, you will never ever, no, Rasulullah said, if you, one God, and if you, Islam, Quran, and my Ahlul Bayt, in his last sermon, if you hold on to these two, you will never go astray. Never. Meaning you will not do injustice in any way. If you hold on to fastly, sincerely, faithfully, to these two. So establishing the authority of God on earth. And, what else is there? On earth with the human beings. Then peace will prevail. Yes, so peace will prevail with this oneness in Allah, of Allah by Allah. Oneness one Allah. If you just believe, because if you believe in many gods, then you know what happens. The verse is given, gods fighting amongst each other. And the Sunnis went astray because they did, after La ilaha illallah, they could not believe in the true authority, which gives reference to no one but Allah, Allah's authority. And that means, that consists of that everyone is healthy, wealthy, happy. What's the other H? So, I don't know, healthy, sorry, WHWH, healthy, wealthy, happy. But this Umayyads did not allow this. So thus we have Sunni Muslims following wrong authorities, unjust, who give preferences to sometimes their relatives, like Uthman bin Affan did, and sometimes, have not got. I mean, they're all idolaters, hypocrites. Didn't want Allah's true authority, Imam Ali, the succession to take place, to be established here on earth. So then we come to Surah Fath again, considering all this about the Shias in briefly, just disorderly manner put by me. Surah Fath ayat when, but Allah has promised accusations, more accusations. Allah promises. Doesn't this tell you, if Allah had said that accusations will come from the war, you may take it not for personal gain, but that you may, like we are told what Khums is, what charity, zakat is, that it goes to those deserving. So, for example, when Fadak comes to be Fatima Zahra and Abu Bakr does not keep it, it will go to the right people, It will be distributed rightfully, justly among the people, whatever comes from Fadak. Like that. So this is about the booty, the inheritance case that Bibi Fatima Zahra had, Prophet Muhammad had given her from Khaybar, I think. And that's so booty. Allah promises you booties, much gain, so that it distributes properly. These pagan Arabs, Jews, were not distributing, were not their wealth was concentrated, and some Abu Sufyan had more, so they were very rich and very poor there perhaps. And so in Jews too, and Christians, so this was to, these accusations from the spoils from the holy war were to be distributed amongst you. And then we come to the distribution, how it should be done. And this ayat will tell you. So Allah promises. I just couldn't get that Allah promises many accusations. But we'll go step by step. I'll come back to that. So the fifth of it is for, I'll just search for that ayat, how, in what form it's the booty is supposed to be distributed, spoils of war. I think it's Surah Anfal. Hello, yes, so I just read the verse 1/5 in Surah Anfal, verse 41, I think. 1/5 of the booty is for Allah, for Allah and His Messenger, his kinsfolk, the poor, the needy, the wafer. So he divides it. So let's take, suppose if we take 50, the number 50, and we take 1/5 of that would be 10, and the rest 40 goes to the soldiers, the army, mujahideen. So that would be like 40. 40 would be distributed among them, and if there are 50 soldiers, then you can divide that, and perhaps like if it's set like this, the more the soldiers are, the less and less of the booties will they be getting. So that would be quite unfair, I think, to them, to the soldiers' army, mujahideen. Okay, so I don't know, but this is what I've done as far as I know. The maths and all, I've tried to calculate through. I could be wrong. Okay, so I would like an expert to tell me about this. I cannot say much about this. Let me find out and then see. I'll see what I can then share with you. I'll talk about this later. So making it whether easy or hard, I don't know. Yeah, yes, it gets hard, but I think that no, it's not I who. What I'm seeing is that there is some kind of something missing here in the Quran ayats, which I've said, Surah Fath again, applying logic and all this, and also the logic of the Shia way. So that means the way of Allah and Rasulullah and the rightful, the successors, imamat, right? So even applying the Shia reasoning, one could see that something is wrong here, which I cannot express. I earlier on tried my best, but the Shia, taking the Shia reasoning to account that jihad is not for the spoils of war, although they would get the spoils of war, and that is for the fair distribution, and so that it circulates among the poor, the needy, and the wayfarers, the visitors or wayfarers, who are poor equally and well. So this I have to see, and then again back to like all this, considering all this at the Shia point of view, back to that Allah promises spoils of war. And we are told that from the Shia account that these Bedouins did not actually see what God's purpose was, right? And even to get the wealth being distributed fairly. So that's why Allah promised these believers great spoils of war. And they could not see this. So back to my Shia thinking way, and considering all that, I have to keep coming back to Surah Fath verses 15, where the Bedouin said that, you are going for the spoils of war. So take us with you to these Muslim men and and Mu'minins. So something that if you see it this way, then you would be for saying that if Allah promised the spoils of war, this means He, of course, Allah is just, because this is our pillar, the Shia, one of the pillars of our religion, and so we have to see that Allah is promising something which is just, on a just cause, right? Okay, in other words, meaning this. So if the spoils of war are promised to them by Allah, then that is just. So that's why those verses in Surah Fath are not wrong about the spoils of war, that you will gain a lot. But if you are a disbeliever and you are obstinate, you would stubborn, you would just blame them wrongly, that they are just going out for spoils of war, whereas they are not. They have to strive hard with their lives are at risk. So that's why Allah promised them many gains. There's a hitch here. It's not really satisfying me. I'm not content with even the Shia point of view. So I guess when I get the answer about this, then I will come back and share. For now, I get the Shia point of view, and so let's see if, but not fully, seeing that Surah Anfal, taking that verse and how the wealth will be distributed among the soldiers, and like putting a fixed amount there. Like, what if there are more soldiers, and how much will they get? If there are more than 50, then you can count like the 4/5 of the spoils of war. 50 amongst 50 soldiers, or amongst 100 soldiers, how much will they get, right? So that has to be taken into consideration. So we'll see how fair it is, and when I'm sure about this, then I'll come back with another video. For now, thank you so much.